Alchemy is what developed the sciences, and it's humans knowing there's more. Humans pushing the envelope, reaching out into other dimensions.
It's
and then it manifests through ridiculous boo-boo trees, but I mean, just to disdainfully, I mean, there's all sorts of good things that come out of religion. You know, slavery, you could argue, transatlantic, was started by people misinterpreting the Bible, but then it was people interpreting the Bible who then got slavery banned.
Yes, so what? I'm talking about religion as an institution. This is an arbitrary institution. It's pushed upon you. I guarantee you, I bet you $1 million your parents were Christian. You know, this is an environmental distinction. If you were born, again, you say religion's Christ and everything is very important to you, well, guess what? If you're born in the Middle East, you'd have a totally different value system, probably have no relationship to Christ
whatsoever. The Middle East is about 25% Christian, actually. But.
Well, you know what I'm saying. If you were born in an Arabic family, dominant religion of the area, This is the reality. We are.
But let me say this: that's actually in a way, it's a healthy firewall, because there's new ideas, which are normally old as well, nothing under the sun, repackaged, which are damaging to the family. I think the Arabs saying we hate your television and your corruptness and your destruction, and obviously they suppress women in their own way and men as well. But you know, we don't want to turn our girls into little whores. We don't want to use your drugs. We see your TV and we call that the great Satan. I mean, in a way, that has allowed them to keep themselves from being dominated by the West. These cultural things we have also have a defensive measure. I'm not saying it's overall positive. I'm saying it has that element. It's there in development.
I totally agree. I happen to personally believe in many of the things that the Christ character has stated. But you know what? I mean, what kind of competition did Christ have? Do you think Christ had guns if he had the option? I mean,
sell your cloak by a sword.
Yeah, exactly, but still, you know, if you really look at his teaching, this is a hybrid character, so there's numerous nuances that are going on here that are in dichotomy, but what I'm talking about...
Are you saying he didn't even exist, even though the Roman historians and the Jewish historians? You're saying
there are many more Roman historians that have no record of him than there are that say he actually exists. There's maybe 4, and they have one line...
No, there weren't even...
I'm not going to go into this debate. I've already gone through this 1,000 times. It's on the website.
Well, you did change some stuff in your first edition of your first one. I mean, you did get a few of those gods and things wrong. I mean, you're not infallible either.
Of course not. I never said I was. I do my research as best as I can, and I present what I learn, and this is how we grow as a society. And religion itself rejects this type of education.
Well, here's the deal. Christians see this New World Order system attacking their religion, and let me tell you, whether you believe it or not, the New World Order, by and large, are Satanists. I mean, they worship death and destruction and me, which is the Madison Avenue God. I mean, certainly you're not ignorant. You know that there is an occult empire.
I'm well aware of it, but I don't recognize it with any type of interest because it's no different than anything else. Of course you're going to have these divisionary aspects. I know about the Bohemian Grove. I'm very familiar with all of this. I know about the occult orders. They've existed for a long time. They're just a bunch of little clubs jockeying for their own ideological and personal power, age-old type of thing. But they are all a product of their conditioning. I'm going to keep reiterating this, and I want everybody out there to go to the VenusProject.com, to go to the ZeitgeistMovement.com, and to think about these ideas and to realize that out of all the things we talked about, Alex and I, the most important is to realize why people behave the way they do. And I argue that it is not genetics, it is behaviorism based on conditioning. And that is the most important element.
Well, I think that's definitely half of it. We're going to go to break here. Let's go ahead and start playing clip number 3.
War, poverty, corruption, hunger, misery, human suffering will not change in a monetary system. That is, there'll be very little significant change. It's going to take the redesign of our culture, our values, and it has to be related to the carrying capacity of the earth, not some human opinion or some politician.
No, stop there. We'll play the rest after the break. Let me ask you this question. Who does the redesign and who decides the carrying capacity of the earth? Because the New World Order is going to use a false environmental carrying capacity to tax breathing, everything. I mean, you're talking hardcore tyranny.
Well, I'm not interested in the New World Order. They have no position in this type of structure. You can always say there's going to be people that try to mess things up. As I said before, the carrying capacity of the earth is just that, the carrying capacity of the earth.
Oh, really? How do you assess that? How do you assess that?
You look at everything that the planet has, you look at the systems that are in operation, just like you would a plot of land to figure out what's capable.
Do you believe in global warming? Do you believe global warming's man-made and bad?
I have no opinion on global warming. I've never seen evidence definitively on any side. But I know
total crap.
They use it for their own advantage, and I don't appreciate that. So the UN, it's a big joke with these guys. So that's irrelevant to this conversation, though. What I'm talking about is the system has...
All right, we're skipping this break. Stay there. Start over. Go ahead. All right, we're now just on the web. Go ahead.
parameters of this system are self-evident, and this is something that people have to learn about through Jacques' research to understand what he's talking about, because it's extremely foreign to what most people have tend to understand and been conditioned to believe. We have the ability to harness a structure that is universal or nearly universal based on our understanding, and everything else will culminate because of this. We live in such a distorted society that these opinions and these biases and these religions and these ideologies are so pervasive that no one has any idea what to believe. The fact is, you break it all down, we need food, we need air, we need water, we need the resources of the planet. Simultaneously, we need to realize that technology is our savior and always has been. We just don't give it that name. We don't recognize it as such. As Carl Sagan used to say, we love the gifts of technology, but we reject its methods. And it was time we utilize the methods and have a world based on what we understand, not superstitions and projections and age-old traditions that are no longer needed and are outmoded and irrelevant. The decision-making process, again, I can't go into the exact details because it's a bottom-up capacity type of thing. You relate to it, you build upon it, the conditions become self-evident, and that's what you need to understand. If you've ever researched the scientific method, you'll see that when you build something, all the conditions become apparent as you work. And this is the most important point. It's an empirical understanding based on the natural carrying capacity of the Earth.
Yeah, it's just humans want to differentiate. Humans want to be individual. You know, and that's not an evil, and that's not an evil thing. Well, I mean, can you imagine saying that you're going to build this world when humans do the same thing over and over again instead of acknowledging that we do have faults and do have problems and trying to teach people to stand up for themselves and go after corrupt systems. I'm just trying to have us survive and do that first, and then I always hear the establishment talking about, pie in the sky. I mean, so much of what you said we heard from the New World Order engineers, and they've built a top-down scientific society. They've used the scientific method. You and your guest in the film, your presenters, I mean, they keep saying over and over again, the elite know nothing. They understand nothing. They don't see it. No, there's a bunch of clips where are you saying in the film it's not said that these politicians can't have solutions because they don't understand the system? And, these are...
We're speaking about politicians themselves. The
elite, look, they call it a scientific dictatorship. They say we're cold-bloodedly, scientifically setting up a hyper-dominant system over the population of the planet.
Yeah,
I mean, they are saying that they are... I know, I'm saying that your information is going to go out and it's going to be latched onto. This happens to me as well, I'm just saying, and then spun off into a horrid hybrid.
No, well, this is one of those things that you have to defend against to a certain extent when you're dealing with misinformation and ideologies that are misinterpreted. This is, to talk about this is really futile. It's good to recognize it, but this system has a universal implication. It's a natural progression. The
all right, final segment. Here we go. Final segment. You're saying it's a natural progression for this system to fall apart, to destroy, and then to be rebuilt. And then you're saying the system you're talking about, are you saying that's a natural progression to move into this resource-based system?
Yes, absolutely, because we've finally realized with our technological understanding that resources can be utilized in a way that does not require scarcity. We can have a world of abundance. And I mean an abundance. I mean, I don't have time to break it down right now, obviously, but you have to realize the multiplicity of the things.
No, I understand it. The New World Order knows we can have that, and they're doing, and they're setting up a world. They say it. They're setting up a world tyranny to block us from developing that.
I'm not talking about fighting the New World Order. I'm talking about true...
Are you saying that they don't know? Because over and over again in the film it's said that they don't understand, they don't know. No, they do know that this is possible, and their New World Order will take on many of the things you're saying, but only to get their dominance in, to block things that empower the individual and the community.
Well, fine, but nevertheless, their tool is money. If you want to see the New World Order stopped, you got to get rid of money. They're not going to have anything else at that point. There's such a small elite, they can't even compare to the power of a group identification with the new social system. They have nothing. The next thing that we have to go after are the military and the police and get them converted, because without them, the New World Order can't do anything.
Have you seen the H.G. Wells film? Have you seen the H.G. Wells film, Things to Come?
Not in many years.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of what you're saying. Let's go ahead and play a clip from that. Well, big sigh there. Let's play that H.G. Wells clip, Things to Come, John. Do you have it?
Who are all that are left of the old engineers and mechanics have pledged ourselves to salvage the world. We have the airways, all that's left to do. We have the seas, and we have ideas in common. The brotherhood of efficiency. The Freemasonry of science.
This is how I conceive our plan of operations. First, a roundup of brigands. That last dismal vestige of ancient predatory soldiery. The last would-be conquerors. Then settle. Organize. Advance. This zone, then that. And at last, wings over the world. And the new world begins.
And then the film goes on. They go and round up all the evil capitalists. But you're saying that's not what you're saying.
Well, obviously not, Alex. That has no relevance to anything that I've said. And if you look at the research that we've done, that the Venus Project is about, there's no relevance to that whatsoever. There's absolutely no opposition to anything. There is a train of thought that is given in education to people, and they can take it or leave it. And I'm of the mind that I think once people recognize this direction, the New World Order, the elitists, the globalists will not only not have a chance, they will falter and join. And they won't do so because of their own need to